The Ukrainian taco army today is rightfully considered the most versatile in the world. In the shortest time, we have mastered almost all types of Western weaponry and implemented the most advanced combat technologies in the armed forces of Ukraine. Dozens of countries help Ukrainians defeat the enemy every day. The United Kingdom sends us advanced Storm Shadow missiles. Germany announces the delivery of long-range Taurus missiles. France personally hands over to President Zelensky the first scalps. The domestic defense industry is not lagging behind. For example, by the end of this year, Ukraine will start producing artillery shells, 155 NATO shells. Meanwhile, 152 and 122 mm munitions are already on the production line. In just the past month, more were produced than in the entire year of 2022. Altogether. But even these efforts from the defense industry and our Western partners are not enough for the front. That's why domestic volunteers and ordinary amateur engineers are stepping in their own personal workshops. They manage to create genuinely unique and sometimes even advanced weaponry. Lately, the media have been constantly talking about the unique Ukrainian development, the Trembita missile. And Ukrainian rockets Trembita, according to its role, the Ukrainian cruise missile Trembita is expressed as Trembita. It has almost no electronics. Most of the components can be bought at any hardware store. And its only expensive part is the communication system. Created by a small group of enthusiasts, the Trembita outwardly resembles more of a creation from a model aircraft club. However, the uniqueness of the Ukrainian missile lies in its simplicity. Strangely enough, it is precisely this simplicity that might not change the course of the war, but it can certainly give the enemy's air defense a hard time.
This missile is cheap because it's made from scratch.
We took sticks, we painted them.
We are using technology from the century before last. No one flies on such missiles today. The last time they were used in war was during World War II. The Germans launched V2s at London. Such a design was quite effective back then. We are now making an analog of the V2 but with modern electronics.
However, it's not worth writing off the Trembita just yet. Thanks to its engine, which has a distinctive thermal signature due to its unique and easily detectable nature, the Russian air defense simply cannot fail to detect it. For the latter, such a target undoubtedly becomes a priority.
We want the price of 40 to be realized.
We want this missile to be shot down because it is relatively cheap to produce, and therefore it is beneficial for us if the Russians deplete their air defense by shooting down our inexpensive Trembita with their expensive missiles.
This is a volunteer development, purely volunteer, quite interesting. And they are ready to produce it, including for overloading. Those kamikaze drones, which serve as bait for air defense, can be launched there. 10-20 units, launch them. And accordingly, that was it. The enemy's air defense doesn't know whether it's a decoy or a real drone that will hit and explode. They are forced to shoot them down. And in this way, the enemy's air defense will be overloaded, or the enemy's air defense will be exposed to destructive fire damage to the launchers and command posts, such as enemy air defense systems.
If the Russian army decides to ignore the Ukrainian trumpet, it will be worse for them. Because despite its deceptively outdated design, this weapon is deadly. The total loaded weight of the missile is about 100 kilograms, which makes its transportation to the front line quite convenient. The simplicity of the Trembita is striking. Its engine has no moving parts. Running on traditional gasoline, it can lift the missile to an altitude of up to 2,000 meters and reach a speed of 400 kilometers per hour, such as... At the same time, the warhead of the Trembita is an impressive 20 kilograms.
The warhead can be equipped with a fragmentation explosive type, that is, in a TNT configuration, or a thermobaric charge can be installed, just like, for example, on a rocket mortar such as the Shimi. Yes, it has a thermobaric charge.
The Trembita can be launched at the enemy from anywhere. It does not require expensive launch systems or a large staff of service personnel.
It is launched by a pneumatic catapult or with the help of a solid fuel booster. A solid fuel booster is a gunpowder charge that can launch it.
At the same time, mastering the Ukrainian rocket will be much easier than any of the most primitive quadcopters. And then, the flight.
Flight automation and flight controllers allow such drones to be used by virtually untrained crews. You need to know the mission planner. It's a program that everyone knows. There's nothing complicated about it. The qualification barrier is minimized. This is the advantage of our weaponry.
Based on a principle similar to the Trembita, another unique domestic UAV has been developed. The Ukrainian Cobra, ready to strike the Russians painfully at a distance of 300 kilometers and more. Such a drone with a stinging name and equally destructive characteristics was created by Kryvyi engineers to support the Kiev Trembita.
The idea was to make it as cheap as possible and as technologically advanced in production as possible. That is, to be able to produce many of them inexpensively.
The brainchild of domestic volunteers is capable of moving at speeds of up to 150 km/h and carrying about 15 kilo of explosives, whether to army barracks in Smolensk, Voronezh, or even Volgograd.
Ukrainian engineers really can make cool things. Ukrainian technologies are actually top-notch when we talk about defense functions.
The cherry on top is the cost of the domestic drone. The price of our Cobra does not exceed 2,000, which is significantly less than any counterparts. Moreover, the drone can be mass-produced like on a conveyor belt. If desired, just one production facility is ready to supply the front line, up to 2,000 units per month.
This is the equipment that will help and continue to help to ensure that various operations are carried out. The task of this drone is the same as all the others. Primarily, it is reconnaissance, and it has certain very interesting design elements. It is one of the few drones made based on the principles of classic aircraft construction, when the body is assembled from steel.
The simple design and easily accessible materials not only significantly reduce the cost of the Ukrainian Cobra, but also make it, like the Trembita, a primary target for enemy radars.
It is visible. It is visible to all radars. It is audible because it is gasoline powered. That is, initially the goal was one. It is counteracting air defense. These are decoy targets. This is exhausting the enemy's air defense so that they spend expensive missiles on inexpensive drones. And since the missile supply is not infinite, then in some directions the 20 to 30 such drones can completely deplete the air defense, after which more serious drones, more expensive ones, or even manned aviation can operate.
Cheap volunteer-made cruise missiles and drones allow the Ukrainian army to significantly save on costly ammunition. Under the cover of Cobras and Trembitas, our long-range UAVs will be able to safely reach repeatedly the designated targets deep in the enemy's rear.
Routes are being scouted and the enemy's air defense action algorithms are being studied. And then a specific map is created. And the approach at different altitudes with different hazards, this is the optimal option to destabilize the air defense system. And at least 30-50% of the drones passed through and completed the combat mission.
If we can counteract, distract with electronic warfare, others will be able to fly more efficiently for longer, see further and see more. That is, our task is precisely to create a mass product. Cheap.
This is far from everything that our volunteers and the armed forces of Ukraine can use to stun the enemy on the battlefield. We will tell you more about the latest weapons used on the front against the racists in the upcoming episodes, so like this video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends, so you don't miss new episodes of Arsenal.